Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt, and today we have a very fun episode. For me, it's going to be a trip down memory lane. For you guys, it's going to be kind of like a history story. Like what my story is, where I came from, kind of like my whole history of running. So, let's just hop right into it. I've got this box here. It's a random old Albertsons box. You can get these anywhere. And it's got all my cross country and track, pretty much all my running stuff is just tossed in there. And it's just random stuff. Like, I've got random medals and stuff that have ended up in there. I've got pictures that people have taken of me. I've got awards. I've got a cup full of rocks. I mean, I'll talk about all of this stuff. Not all of it. I don't want to show a bunch of stuff that you guys don't want to see, and some of it's kind of personal to me, so I'll show quite a bit of it. So let me give you a little bit of a. Okay, I'm in a banana chair. It's so awesome. I love it. It's just this random chair that I got when I was younger, and I have not sat in it in forever, but I love it. Okay, back on topic. Sorry. So I started running. I always tell people I started running in 6th grade, but I don't think that's true, because I looked back through my yearbooks from middle school, and I definitely was not in the cross-country ones from 6th grade. But I thought I was, because, like, you could do cross-country in 6th grade, but you can't do track in 6th grade. They didn't want us to do track in 6th grade. I can't even remember why. I think it was, track was going to be like too intense of a sport or something like that. So they didn't let us do track in 6th grade, but we did it in 7th grade. So that's when I first remember being in track. So I just assumed that I tried my 6th grade year, couldn't get into it. But I guess that's not the case. So I guess I started cross country and like actually running when I was in 7th grade, which that's not bad. I mean, it's 1 year difference. Who really cares, right? So I started running in 7th grade, and my buddy, he doesn't even do sports anymore, and he didn't even do cross country after middle school. When he got into high school, he did soccer, but he was like, "Hey, just come to the meeting, no big deal." And I was like, "Okay, whatever, I'll show up to a meeting." And I didn't know what was going on. I showed up. I was in sweats and a sweatshirt, and it was like a warm day, but I showed up in sweats and a sweatshirt because that was just kind of like the attire that I wore at the time. And jokes, it was actually the first day of practice, and I had to run. I don't even remember how far I ran. It was probably like 3 or 4 miles, but that was a very tough day. But after that, because like I did the whole run, I didn't stop. I wasn't struggling with it, and I was like, wow, I might actually be good at this. And so I got kind of inspired, and I was ready to do it, and I was so hyped. And I've got a picture on a button for my parents. They love this. This was little old me way back in the day. You know, that's a better light. That was little me, little middle schooler Matt, and I had so much fun back then. And like I was so competitive, ready to go, and I would just show up every day, give it my all. Every single day I would show up, be like, yeah, this is going to be so much fun. Of course, it's middle school. Nobody's going like super hard. Like my coach was just kind of doing it for fun. Like this, not doing it for fun. He actually cared about it, but it wasn't like, he wasn't a college level coach training us 70 miles a week or something like that. Of course not. And so I didn't even know about like proper stretching, like all these exercises that you should do outside of running. I didn't know any of that. I would just show up, give it my 100%, and that was what I knew. And it worked out for the first 2 years. And I was super happy. I was making progress. Like during my first year of cross country and track, I had some good competition on both sides, and I fell in love with the longer events, which in middle school for track it was the mile and the 800, and I thought those were sprinting. I thought those were long events, but turns out they're sprinting now compared to what I do now. But I just had fun with it and hopped in and raced my heart out. And it was so much fun. I enjoyed so much of it, but eventually moved on. Kind of got a little bit older. Made it into high school. Oh boy. Let's see. I've got a freshman picture of me. Freshman Matt. Oh wait. This might be freshman me. Yeah, we'll say it probably is. I'm pretty sure this is freshman me. Oh, pretty similar to what I look like now. So, I'm not sure. I was cute back then. Small, adorable freshman. Yeah, so I joined up my freshman year of high school, and we had a very strong guys team and a very strong girls team, but I more remember the guys team because I was part of it. So the year before, when I was in 8th grade, the high school team had this super strong team. Rip. Okay, my high school team my 8th grade year, the high school team was so strong that they won state, and we were Class A state for Montana, and they won, and it was so phenomenal. I think they took 4th place at the Mountain West cross-country meet, which is a really big deal if you're in the Northwest Montana, or Northwest United States, but it's in Montana. And it was so cool. And a year after that, so my freshman year, most of them had graduated. Like, our top, 4 or 5 guys had graduated. So everyone was like, oh, they're not going to be super good. So that wasn't really the case. We had very strong guys that had been juniors that year before, so now they're seniors. In fact, we had 5 of our 7 guys in our top 7 were seniors, and 1 guy was a junior. And then there was little old me, the freshman. I was holding the number 7 spot. And I was not very close to our number 6 guy. He was very fast. This was back when Montana was running 3 miles, not 5K. And so, let's see. He was running 17:30 for 3 miles. Somewhere around there. I think it was 17:40 or 17:20 or at this point in the season. And I was running around 19 minutes, so I was not close. But the top 4 guys were pretty close together, and they were all really good. And my coach was like, hey, Matt, I think that you can go run with these guys. And I was like, wow, alright. The naive freshman that I was, thinking that I could go compete with the seniors. But that's really who I was. That was my competitive drive. I had the heart to just say, let's go for it. I wasn't really concerned about whether it happened or not. I was just like, I'm going for it. Let's see what happens. And a few meets later, after he told me that, it happened. I had this huge breakthrough. I dropped a minute 7. I think it was a minute 15 off of my 3 mile time, which is crazy. And I went from 18:40 something down to 17:30. I caught up to our number 6 guy. No, I caught up to our. Hold on. I lied. I was our number 6 guy, and we had 5 guys ahead of me. So I almost caught up to our number 5 guy, and this was such a huge shock to me, because when I was running, I caught up to him, and I was like, wow, this shouldn't have happened. He's so much faster than me. Maybe he's having a tough day. I'll help him out. So I run up beside him, and I'm giving him words of encouragement. I'm just like, hey, you got it, man. Come on, stay with it. Stay strong. I had no idea that I was just having the best day of my life. And him seeing me, the freshman, coming up on the senior, he was like, nah, not having this. He kicked it, and he totally crushed me. I had no chance of beating him. But like I closed so much ground and ran a 17:30. I was so happy about it. That was like the best day ever. And then after that, like, finished at state, I placed 30th out of the entire like Class A state, which was a decently large race, and our team won again. So that's 2 back-to-back state titles, which is pretty fantastic. And I was, of course, I understand that I didn't like win that for my team because I was the number 6 guy. I didn't even give us points or anything, but it still was a huge deal for me because I felt like that was what was normal. Like, that was in my head, that kind of success was normal. And especially considering that the year before, when I was in 8th grade, we had our number 1 guy won state. And then in track, our number 2 guy won state in the 2 mile. And so, like, they were the best, like, we were the best of the best. Hamilton was the best of the best. Like, okay, so Hamilton is where, like, my high school was. We were the best of the best. And now, of course, everyone was super humble about it, but that was just, like, my impression. Like, they were the best guys on our team were the best in the field that we were competing in. And so I felt like that was normal. So my next year, I was the number 2 guy on our team because we had so many seniors that all graduated. And so I was our number 2 guy. Our number 1 guy placed 3rd at state the year before. So he was really good. They thought he was going to go like 1 or 2 at state this year. It was going to be great. And I got to train with him. And I was that naive mentality of just, I'm going to go for it, see what happens. And off I went, ran my heart out, and I closed, and I dropped another minute 15 or whatever, and I ran like 16 flat, again for 3 miles, not 5K. So I ran 16 flat, and it was so incredible. I think that was like the fastest, or like pretty close to the fastest that anyone from my school had ever done. Because my coach, he was a great guy. He had the records for all of the school, all the time that he'd been coaching. He had kept records for the top 10 freshmen, the top 10 sophomore, top 10 juniors and seniors, and then the top 15 overall. And I placed first on the sophomore overall by running 16 flat. And I was so happy, so excited about that. And yeah, I was like, that was just the sign that I was just ready to do this. Like, in my head, I knew that this was what I was meant to do. Just like all that success, back-to-back success. It was so fantastic. I guess let me slow down. I missed a story. So, going back to the idea that that was all that success that I was surrounded by, I thought that was normal. So I expected myself to achieve that normal. But so my freshman year at track, not at state track, I didn't make it to state track. That's what this story is. I trained the entire track season thinking like, all right, this is my stuff. I'm gonna go get this. And I ran the mile and the 2 mile. The 2 mile was better for me. And I was like, okay, so we're gonna get this. We're gonna get to state for the 2 mile. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm so hyped for it. So in the divisional meets, there's two ways that you can qualify. You could time qualify, which is where you run under a certain mark. For that year, it was 10 minutes and 15 seconds for the 3200. Or you could get top 5 at divisionals. And so I was like, okay, top 5 at divisionals, that's not bad. That's doable. Again, this crazy little freshman who's like, I can do anything, right? I was definitely very cocky. And that's one thing that I do regret, and I try to work on now as much as I can. But I had those two ways that I could have done it. And I had gotten pretty close, but I was still struggling. I was like I think I was started out right about 11 minutes, or like just under, like 10:50, 10:40. And I was trying to work my way down. And I had a few meets where I didn't make much progress, didn't drop my time down at all, and I was kind of feeling down on myself, and I was like, okay, if this is really what I'm meant to do, I had a kind of like this spiritual moment, this like this whole time where I was like, okay, I don't believe in any religion or faith or anything like that. Or at least at that time I didn't. And I decided, okay, I'm going to pray to the running gods. That's what I said when I was younger. And so I did. I prayed to the running gods. And I said, if this is what I'm meant to do for the rest of my life, then I need a sign. Give me a sign. Let me run a 10:35 at the next meet. That's literally what I said. And at that point, it was like, in my head, it was a do or die moment, where I was like, I gotta hit this, or like, it's not gonna work out for me. Maybe this isn't what I was meant to do. And so I said that. I even did like this crazy sacrifice thing where I like shaved my face, took some of the hair, lit it on fire. It was super crazy. My mom yelled at me afterwards because it was stupid. But with that in my head, I was like, okay, going into the next meet, we'll see what happens. Well, I've got a lot of medals here, but this is the one that I'm looking at. The second place medal. So I was not the fastest guy on our team. Not for the 10 mile. I was the 4th guy on our team. No, I was our 5th guy on our team for the 2 mile. So we started out, and there was plenty of people ahead of me. I should have taken like 7th, 8th, something like that. But for some crazy reason, everything just aligned. And you could say that destiny had its day. And I beat every single person on my team. Now, our number 1 guy didn't run because he had an issue with his foot. But I still moved up and passed 3 of the guys on our team and placed 2nd. And I ran a 10:35 on the dot. And from that moment on, I knew this is what I was meant to do. This is what my life is meant to be. And even though I've had doubts and questions in the past, I've never doubted that this is where I'm meant to be. Thanks for watching. We'll pick this up in part 2.